the basic, the very initial first run of 2150 power amps started production at the end of the last quarter of 1988, and decided to start the company officially in January of 1989. I've been thinking about it, what it was going to be called, and you know, I mean, just anything to call it something. And that's where the VHT name came about, and it wasn't really about that it stood for anything. I just picked 3 letters that I thought sounded good to say together. I'll figure out what they mean later. And during the course of making the first prototype, I put a little sticker on the front of it that said something like Valve Harmonics Technology or some silly thing. The first time somebody asked me what it meant, I thought, okay, well, I better figure out something that I can answer that question with. So I put that on the front of the prototype, and they went, oh yeah. And I frankly just kind of reverse engineered that just to stop them from asking the question, because I had no legitimate answer. I was still trying to take myself seriously, and I dropped that affectation later on and stopped taking myself seriously and just started having more fun with it. So from January of 1989 on, that started the whole process of thinking about a location and employees and suppliers and buying parts and producing a number of things and delivering them to customers. And so that was all part of the beginning of the company and the beginning of my education as a producer of equipment for other guitar players. And you know, maybe after all this I'll end up with a nice rig for myself, and when I go back to, you know, my serious endeavor, I'll do that. And that isn't the way it worked out. The way it worked out was I created an all-consuming company that started growing and moving into a larger organization. So from 1989 until about 1990, we were in this little storefront location that was right next door to Bob Bradshaw. So again, local access to people that were having serious rigs made by a person who was building serious rigs and had a series of expectations for me to meet, which that helped define who we are and what we were going to be, because I was experiencing a set of challenges, and the thing that makes me move is that there's a deadline or a challenge, or you can't do this, oh yes I can. Those kind of things were in abundance coming from Bob Bradshaw, who was, I need this, I need it now, I need it to do this, and when is it going to be ready? So that kind of pressure sort of kept me focused and kept me from just getting bored with the idea and then moving back off to, oh, you know what, I could go pick up this tour and be gone from LA for about 3 months, and that would be just about what the doctor ordered now, because I'm sick of LA. So this will take me out of this environment, and I'll be able to clear my head and figure out what to do next. And it just turned out that I got so busy and involved in this that I didn't have the opportunity, or didn't take the opportunity to buzz out of town and go take a tour. Occasionally I did. I would just shut down for a couple of weeks and jump on a plane to New York and play a string of gigs on the East Coast and get paid really decent money, and then come back and commit to it again. Then around 92 we moved to a larger facility. Again, friends in the industry who were all like me, evolving and growing and wrapping their heads around the fact that, hey, you know, we've got the semblance of a company here. We have a reason to do a thing, and we have a skill set to apply to it. And you know, Tom Anderson was one of those guys, and he was all about, hey, I'm in this area that's really good production space, warehouse space out in Newbury Park. There's all kinds of buildings out here, reasonably priced, really nice buildings, nice quiet little area, decent restaurants around the place. Why don't you come out here, be my neighbor? And so I didn't really have to go look for a new location or figure out where the area should be. I just went to this one space because Bradshaw said, hey, there's a vacancy next door to me. And then I went to another space because Tom Manager said, hey, there's a vacancy near us that's in this really nice building. You should check it out. Landlord's cool. So I went out there. I didn't really have to dig through, I didn't really have to slog through all of that, that kind of business mind thinking stuff. I was just being drugged by, I don't know, destiny or whatever. I was just being pulled along by the inertia of the moment. So we were in Newbury Park from around 92 to about the year 2000. In Newbury Park, we got into full swing production of the Pitbull series of amps, the 100 CL, the Classic, the Ultra Lead, Pitbull 45, the Pitbull 5012, 50 ST head, 412 cabs, 212 cabs. A preamp started making its way towards production in that facility, and geez, when I think about it, all the stuff that we produced in that facility for roughly the 8 years we were there, we just accomplished a sick amount of product design. So there was a lot of evolution, a bigger organization, more employees, becoming more focused on being a business and a producer and an engineer, getting engineering chops and figuring out what made things tick and what new things that we could do with this newfound knowledge and expertise that I was picking up along the way. So we're in there, our lease is coming to an end. We're thinking about, geez, it's been nice being out here, but the economy is changing now, and it's actually improving. The unemployment rate is going down radically, quickly. So finding people to work was one thing, but finding people to work out in an out-of-the-way area, away from the city proper, was even more difficult. So we started thinking about moving back towards the LA area where we were originally. And SWR comes along. I met them at an AM show. I showed them a product that I was working on, which was the Valvulator 1, the tube buffer. So that came along right at about the end of that time in Newbury Park, and they were impressed by that, and they said, hey, if you're moving, we're in this big building, you can set up shop in our building, and you can run your company out of the part of the building that we're not using, and you can help us with some of our engineering issues, because our head engineer is retiring, and we're going to need a replacement, and we don't know of anybody out there that has this kind of expertise, so maybe we can join forces. And I went, again, we don't have to go look for a place. We just have to pack up the trucks, move back towards the valley again proper, and set up shop and basically keep doing what we're doing without any real downtime. So that just seemed like, well, that's kind of a no-brainer. We get to move. We don't have to negotiate anything. We don't have to figure out where we want to be. And then we just have to hire trucks, bring people over, load it up, move it to the new place, and get set up. And we were up and running in the SWR building inside of 2 weeks. And so we get in there. We released the Valvulator 1. We released the GP3. The GP3 is the preamp that started out life as a Pitbull preamp prototype. So we thought it would be better to not put the Pitbull connotation on it, so that people would see it as a broader product rather than the VHT Pitbull formulation, which was now starting to be really pigeonholed as a metal product, and we didn't really see ourselves as specifically a metal company. We saw ourselves as a guitar amplifier company, a other part of the instrument amplifier company, where anybody that plays any style can play through our gear and be satisfied with the outcome. But because of the Pitbull name, and because of the VHT name, and because of the popularity among the hard rock and metal crowd, we sort of got pigeonholed as a metal amp company, and which is fine. It kept us busy, but it also sort of gated our ability to talk to the other people for whom our gear was actually aimed, but they didn't recognize it as such. Those were about ready to be released. So by the time that we made the move to the SWR building in Sun Valley, we went directly into production of those and released those, and they sold really well. So that was the year 2000 until the year 2001. Once we started getting settled in there, we realized that there were a lot of things going on in the SWR organization that we hadn't anticipated or expected. We thought it was potentially a longer term sort of a relationship developing there, but it turned out that that wasn't the case. They actually had shifted to grooming the company for a sale, and we saw that as, what if we're here and the people that they're bringing over to their establishment to show them their organization in preparation for sale, and the interested parties are seeing us there and potentially seeing that as part of the deal that they're going to be benefiting from. And as fate would have it, that turned out to be the case. They were actually pitching this whole organization as the thing that was up on the block, and never specifically told these people that the VHT part was not part of that. They just sort of let it be assumed that it was. And once we got wind of that, we decided we need to get out of here before that misconception gets, deep rooted anywhere. So I went to the principals at SWR and said, hey, it's been nice, but we've decided that we need to operate more independently. The stuff that we were trying to assist you guys with, it doesn't seem like that relationship is going to have legs beyond a certain point. So let's just call it a day, and we've found a new location. It'd be the first time that we actually went and hunted a location since the inception of the company. And but we needed to move fast because SWR was working speedily to close a deal with a couple of different buyers who were interested in being the chosen buyer, which turned out to be Fender. And we just thought, if it's Fender and they think that we're going along with it, and if there's any complications, it'll get real messy real fast. So we knew that we had to get out, and get out quickly, which we did. We found a place. We hired a real estate agent and said, we need this. By this time, we knew what we needed. We knew the size of space, we knew what our overhead was going to be, we knew how many employees we had, how many parking spots. We knew something about where we needed to go next as our own standalone company, and could convey that to a real estate agent. He went out and picked us 5 or 6 places. We picked one in Burbank and went, this is perfect. And they brought over the paperwork, made a quick deal, signed off on it, hired trucks. We were out of SWR and into our new facility in Burbank in 3 days. They were only 2 miles apart. So off we went. And so by 2001, we're in Burbank. Like everything, there was product development in progress during the transition. So when we get to Burbank, the development of the SIG-X started, the development of the Deliverance amp started there, the 252, which followed the 292, and then the 292 got a facelift, and we redesigned the Valvulator 1, and people started getting more interested in amps and less interested in racks. So another year roughly of production of the GP3, maybe 2 or 3 years of production of the GP3, and then that stopped. And then the Memphis started going into development. A refinement of the 5012 and the 50ST happened there. There was a couple of pedal ideas that we started working on in Burbank. And there's probably a few other things that I'm overlooking right now, but mainly we focused on getting our production legs more refined and our administrative side and sales side more professionalized, because now we're dealing with more customers, more dealers, more overseas sales, and buying materials in larger quantities, and trying to keep up with new ideas and new product development.